Hello, I'm Lynn Onstot with Joplin Insider. This is a show brought to you by the City of Joplin, and it's designed to give you more details about various programs and services we offer at the city. Today I have two guests with me, and we'll be discussing recycling and the various options that exist here in Joplin to help you with your recycling needs. Marion Phillips is our recycling coordinator for the City of Joplin, and Susan Adams is the executive director for the Joplin Workshops in Joplin. So we welcome you both.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. I know both of you have some really neat recycling things to tell us, so we're going to get right to it. Marion, I know you've been with the city nearly 20 years as the recycling coordinator.
It's hard to believe.
Yes. So can you start off by just telling us a little bit of the history of recycling in Joplin?
Well, Joplin had a test or a pilot program back in the 80s for curbside recycling, but it was just for testing purposes, and it was in a targeted neighborhood. And of course, you know, it went away when the vote happened. Mm-hmm. And then also Walmart and Dillon's grocery store even had 30-yard roll-off bins, mm-hmm. where they would collect it, and then they'd contract with whoever to have it hauled away. But that, if it's not staffed and it's not maintained, it can get pretty ugly.
It got junky, didn't it? People threw anything in there.
It sure did. Mm-hmm. I remember, because I still lived in town, so I remember it. But then finally the city realized that we needed to kind of take back control of at least the trash service, because the pricing had just skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. You would think competition would keep the price down, but it didn't. It just, when one company would raise the price, then the other, well, that's cool, and then they'd raise their price.
I do remember that.
So once we franchised the residential trash, then it was the stepping stone to be able to get curbside recycling. But in between there, we decided to open up the Joplin Recycling Center, and that was in the year 2000.
Okay, so you celebrated your 15-year anniversary not too long ago, and the Recycling Center has grown quite a bit. What's changed in that time?
Well, we're more automated, if you will. Now we have compactors, so we can compact the plastic bottles and the cardboard. And we take weird stuff, not like cooking oil, that we didn't used to do.
Okay.
So we take more items, and we've gotten grant money to purchase machinery so that we can process things.
Okay. Well, you mentioned you have gotten grants to help purchase things. There's a misnomer that I hear most times when I talk to people about recycling, that we're making money over recycling, or through recycling, and I think that comes from aluminum cans. When I take my aluminum cans in, I make money. So does the city make a lot of money doing recycling?
I keep track of everything, every ton, every pound, and every dollar, every penny, and we do generate revenue by selling items like metal and glass, but then we lose money, if you will, because I have to pay companies to take the electronics and the plastic bottles. So, you have to, the incoming and the outgoing and stuff. We always are to the good when you look at direct cost. But when you factor in all the overhead and my salary and the attendant salaries and my car and just all the overhead, we do not make money on the recycling center. No way.
Okay, and most cities don't.
And that's even including the grant money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, most cities don't, but more and more cities are starting to charge for their service too.
Right, because it, again, save, planet green, trying to save our earth, so to speak. It's becoming much more known. And last year, the Republic Trash Service, the one that we contract with through the city, they all started offering curbside recycling. How's that program going?
Well, it is slow, and that's kind of why we wanted to come out and talk to people today too. Is it rolled out, we had just lots and lots of calls, but then it kind of leveled off, and so now people move in and people move out, and it's kind of leveled off. So we really need to keep educating people, because like I said, there's always new people to town, or you might move from Webb City to Joplin, or from an apartment house to a house. And
right. And the monthly charge, in addition to our trash, is
the trash is $11.73 per month, and then if you want curbside recycling, it's $16.48 a month.
So maybe what, $5 more?
It's like $4.75 a month extra.
Yeah, to do that. So, and if you don't want to do curbside recycling, there's always the recycling center.
Right.
But the convenience of curbside recycling is wonderful.
Even I have curbside recycling.
Yeah, and you go to the recycling center every day.
It, right.
Sure. So
and I pay for it.
Yeah. Well, Sue, I know you're with the Joplin Workshops, and I'm hearing a little bit about, well, I'm hearing a lot about the Joplin Workshops and recycling. Tell me a little bit about what the Joplin Workshops does and how recycling is a part of it.
Well, Joplin Workshops has been in Joplin for 51 years. Actually, our 51st anniversary is March 28th of this year.
Oh, wow.
And we were founded in 1966 by concerned business people and parents of adults with disabilities to create a safe and dignified place where our adults with disabilities could work. So we have a commercial laundry. Our customers are the 4 regional Mercy hospitals, Via Christi in Pittsburgh, Downstream Casino as a customer, the Girard Hospital, the Miami Hospital. Then we do sub-assemblies and kitting, and our customers include General Mills, Tamco, Logier, Modine. And then in February, just about a little over a year ago, after conversations with Mary Ann, we began a recycling service. And because the city was about to launch their curbside recycling, we talked to Mary Ann and tried to find where there was an underserved niche, and that turned out to be small businesses. So the workshop had containers that we used for our laundry business, and as they got a little bit beat up and we weren't using them to move laundry, we repurposed them, we upcycled them into recycling bins. And so we'll go to a small business and drop off a bin, and then according to that small business's schedule, we'll come once a week, once every other week, 2 or 3 times a week, and pick up their paper, their plastic, and their cardboard.
Wonderful.
And I'm much like Mary Ann, I wish we could say we were making lots of money off of it, but our mission really is, we're a nonprofit, and so our mission is to create jobs for people with disabilities, and so it has enabled us to keep people working, and we have people that drive fork trucks, move the recyclables around, they bale it, they sort it. We don't take glass. I personally don't like to handle glass, and I didn't want any of our employees handling glass. A huge advantage for us is that we saved 75% on our trash bill when we began recycling ourselves.
That's incredible.
Yes, we're a big generator of number 4 plastics, which is big plastic bags and
I'm going to
shrink
pause
wrap.
here because I think we have a picture of a big bale of number 4 plastic.
Yeah, we
is that
do.
right? And I want the public to see that because when I
Okay.
saw that, I could not believe it. It's something. Oh,
It's called stretch
there it is.
film.
Stretch.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
And so we generate that ourselves. And so once we kept that out of the trash, and once we kept our cardboard boxes out of the trash, and once we kept our plastic bottles and our aluminum cans out of the trash, we went from, I think it was 3 pickups a week with 2 8-yard dumpsters down to 1 8-yard dumpster that's picked up twice a week.
They're kind of going through some of your photos, which I
Yeah.
think is wonderful.
So
that
this
looks like a celebration.
Yes,
Yeah.
here we are. We were having a ribbon cutting. I think that may have been our 50th anniversary.
Okay.
And so we all gathered in the break room. My coworkers love to party, and
Sure.
any kind of an excuse we can
To
have
celebrate,
for
everyone does.
we take advantage of that.
That must be a work area.
This is a work area, and these folks are separating recyclables.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see one of our guys in the background there.
Yes, that looks great. Now, when you talk about the sheet plastic, that's what you wrap your things in.
Sheet plastic or large oversized plastic bags.
Okay.
So we're talking now to KCU Medical School, the new
yes.
medical school, and we'll be recycling their cardboard and their plastics, as well as things from the cafeteria, plastic bottles, aluminum. Slumberland in Joplin is a big customer of ours, and
They would have a great deal of plastic.
Yep. Think of all the couches being wrapped in cardboard and draped in plastic.
Yes.
We have about 35 customers that we visit on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and so our folks are very busy.
Are you still taking customers? And if people
Yes.
are interested, they could call you?
Absolutely, and the city has also loaned us an Alley Cat, which is a trailer with 5 bins on each side, which is parked on the north side of our building at 501 School Street. And on 5th Street, you will see this trailer, and the trailer's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people can drop off their recyclables there as well. So we don't have to be there.
I don't think that's the alley cat picture.
No, I'm not sure what that's a picture of.
But yeah, but I know we'll have it. We'll call it up here shortly. Maybe
Okay.
we'll move on. So, well, I know that a little bit of the history of the workshop. Someone was telling me that you've been processing recyclables for a while.
About a year.
Remanufacturing and demanufacturing. What does that mean?
You know, I saw that on here, and I'm not positive. What we do a lot of times is we'll disassemble things to recycle.
Okay.
So if somebody brings us office chairs that are in poor repair, we'll disassemble them and
Okay.
recycle them as the aluminum frame or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
But we try. It's just like at home. You know, we really try to repurpose things instead of throwing them out. And,
Right.
And so we were able to take, as I said, those laundry carts and repurpose those as recyclable carts. Our laundry trucks, we have a fleet of delivery box trucks, and so those are the trucks that go out in the afternoon after the laundry business is done and pick up recyclables.
So it's pretty busy. So
Yeah.
Well, Marion, do you have anything to add that you know that's going on at the Joplin workshops? That
Well, believe it or not, and I don't know if this was before your time, but years ago the workshop did do a lot of recycling. They actually, people could bring things there, and believe it or not, they did glass too.
Oh, really?
But once they got out of that, they didn't ever want to go back.
Yeah.
That is before my time.
Glass. But
Well, the glass
people will
is-
still
yeah.
tell me about it. But when I first came to the city, they told me that happened
that-
over there at that location. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Well, that location's been there. Has it been there the whole 50 years?
No, we actually, someone told me we started in the basement of the city's Park and Recreation Department.
Oh.
Well, in 1966.
Wow.
And no, we've been in a couple different locations, but right now we're on the block of Michigan and School, and we're bordered by 5th and 6th Street.
So how many clients, how many employees
We
do you
have right now 85 employees and about 20 staff, and 5 of those are drivers.
Wow.
And our folks have every different kind of disability that you can imagine, from physical to developmental. There's a lot of our folks that you would never know they had a disability if you come in. Several of our folks drive, our folks own their own homes. We have 4 sets of brothers. We have a husband and wife. We have a mother and daughter. The mom is a staff member, and her daughter works there.
That's very nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So it is like a family.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like any other job, just like your job. You know, when you work for the city, it turns into a family.
It does.
And the workshop is the same way.
Yeah.
Our average seniority is 18 years. Average age of our employees is 48. And we have got a significant number of people that have been there for more than 40 years.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I know Robert Lawley, the gentleman that runs our maps and trolley system, works with
Absolutely.
your company and helps make sure that they have the rides they need, and if snow days and things of that nature. But usually we're all closing. If it's a bad snow day, we all kind of shut down. That's not necessary to get out in that bad weather. So
Well, a few of our employees drive, but most of them take a CSS provides transportation, community support services, the MAPS bus, the metro area paratransit, and then the AAA taxi service is another way that our folks get back and forth. So most of our folks don't drive.
Well, on the recycling, if you get calls or questions, do you refer them on to Mary Ann, or how do you? Okay.
We refer them on to Mary Ann, and there is actually another workshop in Jasper County, Innovative Industries in Carthage, and they do potential secure document shredding. So we get a lot of calls from attorneys' offices, banks, I think even the post office uses them, and we don't do that, but we refer them to Carthage, and Jeff Jones and his team over there take care of that, and then they recycle the documents after they're shredded.
Okay, well that's wonderful. I know we've had different shred days. Do we have anything planned like that coming up?
I do.
Yeah.
Drum roll, because people have been calling me for a year now.
Yes, yes.
So on actual Earth Day, which
Okay.
happens to land on a Saturday this year, April 22nd, we will have that shredding truck again like we had last year. It's from Midwest Fiber Sales. They come from Springfield, and they'll bring this high capacity, very fast shredding truck. And so it will take all the documents, by the cart full. The mechanical arm will dump all the contents of the cart into their truck. And then they have a camera so you can watch it being shredded too, if you want to. You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
And it's free, and this year it's going to be for Joplin residents only.
Okay. And that's fairly new, right? The Joplin residents?
Yeah,
It's just-
last year we had it for the whole community because I didn't know how busy we would be.
And it was
overwhelming. We
Right.
put 11,000 tons in a 9,000 ton truck.
Okay.
So we can't do that again.
Right. It was very nice of your sponsors to help.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, because I know a lot of these are either Region M grants or sponsored by other companies.
Right,
so
but this one was not a
paid.
grant.
This was a paid.
And that, I do that a lot also. If I have grant money, then I do open it up to the whole community. But this time, because we don't have grant money, it's just city funds that
Right.
we're keeping it to just
Well, and I
Joplin
know,
residents.
just in our household, I try to shred what I can, or I put it into a bag. And if we're going to do any brush burning, we live out in the country, and not on a day like today, not these windy days, but on those days that you do burn just a little bit, I'll take them out there and start throwing them in there. I figure that's another way to do it. So.
Well, and another way is we do have a high capacity shredder at the recycling center every day that we're open, but it's self-serve. So you
That's
are the
right.
one that has to stand there and feed it into the machine.
But it's not that bad if you don't have,
it
if
goes
you do it
very
monthly.
fast.
Yeah, and
Yes,
if you
it
do it
goes very
monthly,
fast.
you just keep it. That's a good idea for me too, because I'd forgotten that. I work at the city and I often forget the services that we provide. So, well, that's Earth Day, April 22nd, 10 to 2. Do you have any other events coming up?
Well, I'm known for my tire collection.
Everyone saves their
I
tires.
also on that too every day. I'm super thankful to Empire District, Liberty. I'm not used to saying that name
Right.
yet. Liberty Utility Central.
Yeah.
They are going to co-sponsor it. So
Wonderful.
they'll pay for the first trailer load of tires, and then the city pays for the rest. And this is open to Joplin residents, but also all Empire residential customers.
And that covers a great deal.
Several states.
Yes, yeah. So how many tires can they bring? Is there a limit?
We try to keep it to 10 per household. The theory being if you have more than 10, you're probably in kind of a commercial
Right.
situation or a landlord situation.
Yeah, and commercials
and
have
it just
their
makes
own-
it fair for
Right.
everybody.
Well, commercials have their own way to dispose of those,
They-
because I
they
know
should
when
all
I've
year.
bought tires that you pay that fee to help get rid of that. So, well, which is fine. So, and Sue,
And the date on that?
oh, we didn't talk about that. Sorry, I apologize.
It's not Earth Day. The tire collection, it's going to be in May this year. So May 5th and 6th, it's a Friday and a Saturday from 9 to 3.
Okay. And again, open to Empire residential customers as well
Right,
as City
as-
of Joplin,
right.
obviously. So, okay. So do you have events like that at this point? Are you starting to look at that as an idea, or are you just going to lean on Marianne? And,
Well, I'm leaning
and
on
encourage-
Marianne
I
a
don't
lot.
blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you. Those are...
And actually, I think MSSU is having an event on Earth Day, and we just got a call on that, and so we're working with one of the students at MSSU to participate in that.
Oh, that
And
would be
then we
good.
have the trailer that's out there, so people can bring their recyclables during our business hours. The best time to bring them would be between 9 and 3:30, Monday through Friday. But the Alley Cat trailer is out there all the time.
I think
so
we had a
don't have
picture
to
of
be
the
there.
alley cat. I was wondering
I
if we could
saw it go
scroll
by
through.
earlier.
Yeah, I know we sent a lot of pictures out here, and I apologize to the control room that we're having you page through all those. Do you have the pictures? Maybe we can call those up.
It's green and white, if that helps.
Yeah. Not that
Nope.
one.
Nope.
I can see them from here, but they're scrolling through. Nope. One. Getting close.
There we go.
There it is. I see it's coming.
Yeah. So we're getting close. There,
There
it
it
is. That's the alley, and that's called an alley cat.
That's the brand name.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I call it. Yeah.
Okay,
It's a
it
portable
does.
trailer.
Well, it looks a lot
Mobile.
very similar to the bins you have at the recycling center, but these have specific components.
Right.
And this
So-
is on 5th Street between Michigan and School.
And it's there all the time.
It's there all the time.
So that's very convenient for people too. And people, if you're not sure, it's near Ewart Park. Is
Right.
that correct?
Right, near
Yeah.
the skateboard park.
Yeah, skateboard park. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, so you could easily take your recycles over there. You're on 1310 West, over 1310 West A Street.
Yes.
It's over there near Main Lane.
Yes.
So we've kind of got the area covered. We'll eventually
We're
branch to the
spreading out a
south
little
side.
bit,
We'd
yeah.
like to. Yeah, I know we have great hopes to get everybody curbside recycling. So what kind of tips do you give to people that are thinking about recycling, but they've heard it's a mess or it takes room? What kind of tips can you give to people?
Well, I say start simple or start easy. Aluminum cans is easy. Plus, if you have young kids, it's also motivation. You can say, hey, we can cash them in at one of the scrap yards and
Right.
get money for it.
Right.
So if that's what you need as incentive.
Sure.
And it's easy to rinse out. you know, when you start getting into glass bottles with ragu in it, then it gets
Yeah.
a little messier and stuff.
Right.
But you'd be surprised that there's just so many things that can be recycled people don't realize.
Well, I know pressed board, you know, when you think about cardboard, but pressed board, cereal boxes,
Right.
toilet paper, tissue rolls. I remember
Right.
when we were talking one day, and to be quite honest, that didn't even enter my mind, but you're right, it's pressed cardboard.
And you know,
that-
the kids are all learning about this in school. So if you start doing it at home, they're probably a couple steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know, my husband and I are pretty hardcore recyclers and have been for a long time. And for the two of us, we end up with one sack of true garbage a week. But we visit Mary Ann every couple of weeks, and we bring our recyclables to the workshop, and it's worked out great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, you just need a bin, you know, for what, press board, if you're starting simple, press board, newspaper, plastic.
Plastic bottles.
Plastic
It
bottles,
depends. If
pardon
you're
me,
coming
yes.
to me, only plastic bottles.
Right. But you do have an area that you take, like the laundry detergent bottles, don't you?
Well, if plastic bottles, if it's a number 1 or number 2.
Okay, and those are considered
Symbol on
that.
the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
And I have to admit, it is a little confusing because curbside recycling takes different things than the Joplin Recycling Center takes because it goes to a different processor.
Okay.
So actually, it's almost easier to do curbside recycling because you don't have to think about it.
It's
And
mainstream or whatever, single stream.
It's single stream, yeah. It all gets mixed together.
Okay.
And they'll take all the different kind of plastic containers, whereas I only take the 1s and 2s with bottles with
Right,
necks.
because they'll take like butter containers,
Right,
and things
right,
of that
yogurt,
nature. Yeah, which there are a lot of those.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
it's amazing. Well, I was driving yesterday through the country, how many plastic bags are caught on barbed wire fences. So
I do take plastic shopping bags.
Right. I just wish there was a way that we could get those removed. Just
Some cities have,
I
and
know.
then some city governments fight with the state governments over it, and
Sure.
other countries even.
Right.
You know, Ireland has tried to ban it.
oh, really? The whole
yeah,
country?
Yeah, and but it depends with the administration and who's in power,
Sure.
and it can come and go, and
Right.
And I think
lobbyists
some places are experimenting with biodegradable ones, so that if they do escape and get caught in a tree, they disintegrate pretty quickly.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Because like
Yeah.
aluminum foil, I've always hated, you know, aluminum foil is something you can put in with your aluminum cans.
Right.
Clean it, you know, try to keep it as clean. You know, if it's soiled, you can't. But at least, because that never goes away is what I understand. So, what other tips, what other things do you have going on at the recycling? Tell me, you mentioned cooking oil, and that's fairly new for our viewers. What in the world do you do with cooking oil?
Brooks Grease from Tulsa comes and gets it, and they actually pay me for it, but I have to wait until I get to a certain dollar figure before they'll bother to cut the check. So it takes us a while. But we did it for a lot of reasons, mainly almost more of awareness, so that people know don't put it down your drain, because it can really wreak havoc on your personal, you know, your pipes at
Sewer
your home,
system, right.
but also the city sewer system. You think, oh, I'll run hot water and it'll dissipate.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. Eventually, as it cools off and then meets other grease, it turns into these big grease balls. And it
creates backup.
It's very ugly, yes, especially around commercial areas.
Okay.
We see it. Our guys have to go clean it out all the time.
You also have a hazardous household waste, and I hate to even think that I have hazardous waste in my household. So what does that include?
Well, I guess the easier way to say chemicals, but
Yeah.
insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, a lot of home improvement products, mercury. A lot of people still have mercury thermostats or thermometers. It's amazing what you have in your house that you don't, you know, if you just look under the sink or in the basement at the garage.
Especially if you've lived there for a while and you haven't really cleaned out that shed or something for a while. I know we've come across some things. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, and I get a lot of calls from people whose parents or grandparents have died and they've gone in to clean it out. And they're like, oh, what do we do with all this stuff?
Now, I get a lot of calls about paint. Tell me how you handle paint.
Well, I don't take paint because it's just such a budget buster. If I took paint, all my grant money would be used for paint, and I wouldn't be able to take the really bad stuff. Also, because you can get rid of paint in other creative ways. Once it's hardened or solidified, then you can set it out with the trash. It's not banned from the landfill once it's hardened.
Okay, so how do you harden it?
With cat litter or sawdust, or some people even use Portland cement, or depending on your quantity, you can set like a cardboard box down and literally paint the box with the paint, and then once it hardens, you can put that out with the trash.
Oh,
Or
okay.
even if there's just a little in the paint can, just leave the lid of the paint can off.
It eventually
Yeah,
solidifies.
and
You're
once,
right.
once it hardens, then you can just throw it out
I
with
think
the
those
trash.
are great ideas because a lot of people don't think about those kind of things. So.
Well, unfortunately, I get a lot of calls for people who are moving, like the next day. And they're like, now what do I do with the paint? I go, well, and when I tell them the story, you know, they should have planned way ahead to get rid of the paint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is frustrating. So, you also put out a brochure every year about. Is that right?
Right. We normally gear it towards coming out right before April 1st because in the past that's when the trash price would go up, but this year it doesn't go up because of the way the contract's written.
Nice.
But we're working on it, and hopefully in a few weeks it will hit the mailboxes. The Joplin residential mailboxes will get a new 2017 recycling guide and trash guide.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, if I can ask the control room maybe to call up some of those special events that we talked about. I think we talked about the Earth Day event on April 22nd. That's the shred event. I think there was a screen for that. And it goes from 10 till 2. Well, there's a Joplin Recycling Center. The hours, that's always important to know. You're not open on Mondays or Sundays or
Right.
Mondays. But there's the Earth Day event, 10 to 2. It doesn't say shred event, but it is a shred event.
Right. It's just for paper shredding, not
shredding.
not other media.
Right. Paper shredding. Okay. And then you also have on May 5th and 6th, you have a tire drop-off day. And like you said, that's always a popular, 9 to 3 is that day.
Right. And I always tell people don't come early.
Yeah, because
they
you'll just
start
line up.
They start lining up at 7:30, and they're sitting there until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, because we
So
don't have the
come-
staff, we don't have the resources to
Yeah.
run it until then.
Yeah, right.
It's not
We
like a
don't open the
garage
gate
sale.
until
Yeah, it's not
then,
like a
right.
garage sale that we can open up just because you're there. Darn it. So yeah. Well, this concludes my portion of the questions. Do you have anything else you guys would like to add?
No, I think you've covered
Yeah,
everything.
they can always
Okay.
call us and go to our websites and.
Yeah, there are a lot of recycling options here in Joplin. I'm very glad that you two ladies are here with your companies doing the work that you do. Plus, we have curbside recycling now in Joplin, so if people have questions, they can always call the city. Of course, they can call Joplin Workshops
Right.
On the commercial side, the small business. I think that's a wonderful resource, and I really appreciate you coming in and telling us a little bit more about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Well, this concludes our portion of the Joplin Insider. My name is Lynn Onstot, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.